Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the knitting communities that we are part of. And we do it all with a little twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I'm Dawn. I am fourth in our family's birth order of 8. And I am just a tad frivolous.
Tad must be being used in a very relative manner, Dawn. Oh my goodness. Hello, and I am Penny. I am the frugal one, and she's more than a tad frivolous. I am the oldest in the birth order. A hearty hello and welcome to our returning viewers. We are so thankful for your returning support, kind interaction, and encouragement on our Ravelry and YouTube threads. And we're grateful that you're back again for this episode. And to our new viewers, we just want to welcome you, heartfelt welcome, for all the time that you have to watch and view that you've chosen our little podcast. So we hope that you walk away this week with a nugget or two of wisdom, wit, and humor. So grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and obviously your sense of humor for episode 25. Take it away, Dawn.
I think we should ask Opal and Ruby what's around their necks.
Well, I think they should too. And for the record, Pearl's nose is a bent out of shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's chipped, by the way. She's been upstaged by Opal, but I think she'll get over it. Maybe make an appearance next week. Opal is actually wearing the Building with Lace wrap by Michelle Hunter. Some of you may know her as a designer as Knit Pearl Hunter. And Dawn and I did this as a knit along. We used the yarn Miss Michelle recommended. It was HiKoo Rylie, and mine is in, as you can see, a gray colorway. I gave it $5 on the frugalometer for fiber. And remember, that's just my system. And I gave it a $1 frugal $sign for the pattern because it's part of a book. And I think I've said it before, Dawn, hands down for value. I almost always find my patterns the greatest value if I buy them in a book.
Absolutely. And that was so much fun to knit.
Oh, yes.
Did we do a segment a week or every 2 weeks? I forget.
We did. And I think she has 2 other books, and you probably know this better than I do, Building with Color and Building with Texture. Is that the other one?
Yeah, it's something like that. Building blocks or...
And again, always links to wonderful, helpful tutorials. Her tutorials are very straightforward, very well photographed, very well described. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. And I certainly wasn't when I knit that shawl. So Dawn and I are just waiting for a very elegant reason to wear it because it is elegant. Very elegant.
We need somebody to get married or something.
Yeah, that would be nice. So if you're planning to get married and need a fill-in guest because someone bailed, let us know. We'll be there.
we travel. Half shawl will travel.
Absolutely. What's Ruby got around her neck?
Look at that. That is Midnight in Berlin by my fave, Melanie Berg. Maybe one of the most stunning things I've ever knit. And I don't mean that to sound arrogant, and I realized it probably just did. This was on her cover photo for that Shawls book. It's huge.
It is.
But look at that mosaic pattern.
You did a wonderful job on that, Dawn.
That is, wow, that is, yeah, and again, little by little, because you have to concentrate on that. Of course, the stripe sections go a lot easier. And I did that in the recommended yarn, that Rosy, green wool, cheeky merino, joy, something like that. And that's 2 shades of blue. It almost looks gray, but it's a darker gray and a kind of a light gray with a blue hue to it. And that was one of my goals when I bought that book, was to see if I couldn't knit my way through it. I'm nowhere near close, but that's an amazing shawl to knit. If you like mosaic, That's a great shawl. And I think that's a DK weight, so it's fairly heavy.
Oh,
which, yeah.
I forgot about that. For some reason, I thought it was fingering. Okay.
And that was my New Year's Eve cast on 2018 that I had to recast on January 2nd, 2018. Every time, my Christmas Eve cast on and New Year's Eve cast on almost always has to get cast on again.
Maybe that's because we're knitting the whole time we're we're talking the whole time we're casting on and visiting back and forth and whatever.
So, I'd have to do the same with the frugalometer for the pattern because I think there's like 15 shawl patterns in that book. And I don't remember the wool. I ordered it from Yarn Culture, I think. I'm going to probably say 3 or 4. I just don't remember. So.
And I think you've said this before. Her pattern book could also serve as a coffee table book because the photography is captivating.
Yeah, impeccable. So, and the other thing that she does that I haven't seen in any other books is at the back of her book, she's gotten permission from people to show what they've done based on their Ravelry projects. So right away, you get to see it in another color. She must have interviewed the people or had them write some comment. And I appreciated that too, because I've done several yarn choices based off those pictures.
Right.
So, yeah. Now, this isn't the colors from the book. She did it in a blue and a gold. But yeah, love it, love it, love it. So what's around your neck?
It is my favorite go-to shawl. I don't even think I've ever told you that. It is Golden Sand by your Joji Locatelli.
Oh.
Yay. You like her as well, as did several of our virtual knit night participants, but it's too early to jump there. Anyway, favorite, it was very easy, great beginner shawl. I think Joji's patterns definitely rate a 1 or a 2 on the frugalometer. They're very, I think, very reasonably priced. And the fiber that I used was a gradient kit from Knit Circus in the Greatest of Ease base called Shades of Gray. Definitely on my frugalometer, it is $5.
Yeah, I would agree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what is finding itself around your neck?
This is Elevation Wrap. I think Elevation Wrap by AspenKnits. I think you wore yours, or Pro was wearing yours a couple of weeks ago. Now it's a little hard to see in this light, so I'll get it a little closer because what looks like black really is a gray.
Oh, it is. We can see that much better, Dawn.
And that's by Knitted Wit, the gray is, in the carbon colorway. And then look at the colors in this minis. So,
so much prettier than mine.
So happy Jane in the, I think she calls them Poppers mini skein set. And she was a vendor at the Ann Bud retreat a couple of years ago that we went to up in Door County. And boy, look at that website. She has got delightful yarns. And she's also really good if you just tell her what pattern you're thinking about. She'll give you some choices. And I always appreciate when a dyer does that as well. So I'd probably go 3 on the frugalometer. I'd probably go 3 on both. I can't remember. That was part of that Mystery Mania that we did a few years ago at Magpie's Cottage, which reminds me to say, I always say Magpie Fibers on the podcast. That's a yarn company, indie dyer. So when I say Magpie, I know when I say Magpies, I mean Magpie's Cottage in Sheboygan Falls. So no offense to Magpie Fibers. So nobody's complained, but I realized that when I was editing. So.
And you know what, Dawn, if we would have known that, if I would have known you were wearing that, I would have brought mine. And you can see a marked difference when you choose the wrong fiber for a pattern. Mine is not even wearable. It's the one that I had the highlighter minis, hedgehog minis in.
You said it was the base yarn was kind of rustic.
Yes. So it was a crash and burn.
Yeah. So that's why Pearl wears it.
What was that?
That's why Pearl wears it.
Yeah, because who's going to approach her with that snarky little look on her face? She can sport that. Okay, I have to know, did you get anything off your needles this week?
Nothing. It's so I only thing I did, and I finished the Anker's hat.
Well, that's not nothing.
Well, it was done on the last podcast, but now it's blocked. And you kind of now can see the ridges. But here's what I need help from the viewers. It needs a pom-pom. So, Anker's hat by Petite Knits. The yarn was hedgehog fibers, both in the sock as well as the mohair. Okay, look at this pom-pom. Don't you think? That is like a big bottle of Pepto-Bismol on your head. Do they still make Pepto-Bismol? I don't even know. Or
yeah, they do.
Should I tame it down a little bit and go with white?
Well, that certainly isn't your typical aesthetic, Dawn.
No, but I probably won't wear this. So if anybody has any strong feelings one way or the other, I would love to know. And I'll attach it using that button method.
Oh, okay.
Doll hat. And again, you know, you've taught me with the hats that this is hand wash. So I have to be very careful who the recipient is, that they're willing to do that, because I would hate for that fiber. And you know what? I only use 25 grams of the fingering weight.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. So in theory, I could get 2, maybe 3 more hats out of that. And I love that base. And then the mohair, I think I used a little bit more, but not much. So very reasonable. And I do believe that's a free pattern.
Yes, it is.
Petite Knits. So
Great stash buster.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So what's off your needles?
I only have one item. As you and I were commiserating just before we started recording, we went back to work this week. And I just have to tell you, it kind of interferes with the knitting, doesn't it? But it makes knitting all the more important when you get home.
That's right. And then I fall asleep knitting because I'm exhausted at the end of the night.
Oh, and can I tell you, the drool on the yarn, it's just nasty. It just makes it tacky.
Or we come next week with an eye patch on because we fell off to our knitting needles. That's why we wear safety glasses.
Yeah, someone fell on her knitting needle. Yes, she did. Sound asleep. I wouldn't give away any names.
Absolutely
but, yep.
not.
Hey, so I only got one item off my list, and Mo is sporting, as you can see.
Oh,
he is sporting the September hat, and the pattern is actually by Caroline Dick, but the September hat was one of the Year of Hats patterns, and I'm going to knit all 12 of those hats. So it is for any gender. I used actually a very workhorse yarn, Plymouth Galway, in the gray, and I thought the decreases were nice.
Oh, I like that too.
Learned, yeah, and we'll talk about in what I learned this week, but I learned a couple of new things with this hat. I knitted on size 6s and 7s, and you know what? To be honest with you, Dawn, the cast on was on a size 6. The hat was on a size 7. Doesn't it look like I inverted those needles?
Yes, it does.
It does.
That's an interesting cast on. I've never seen a rim like that.
I haven't either, which is part of what I learned. So I'll share that when we get to that segment.
Okay.
Well, do you have anything that you're working on, which is a silly question because we've been following you as you knit these beautiful, huge shawls?
Well, you would have guessed that you knew what I was doing. I had 2 more stitches and I was done with that row.
Woo!
So this is the Advent Stole 2016 by Brigit Koch. It's a class I'm taking at Silver Thimble. And that is a fuchsia pink. I think it's called geranium. And there's my stitch marker where I was last week. So
look at you.
I'm getting close. I only have 2 weeks of the class left, so this will be done in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the patterns that you can't see very well, the lace you can see. But this pattern is Gansey knitting. So it's just a pattern with knits and purls, no yarn overs or anything, but it's hard to see on this yarn because of the halo. So yeah, so I have 3 more sections and I'm done. And this is Marisol's Legato Silk. And we knit with a 4 for the patterns. We knit with a 3 on the interludes in between where the beads are. And I remember that about half the time. And I hope this blocks out I haven't blocked it since the beginning, but yeah, Tina is the teacher, and she brought us the 2017, 18, and 19 Advent stoles. And so they all have some things in common, like the beaded interludes, but each one of them is a section of different patterns. So I know I've said I'd be tempted to do hers when it comes out December 1st, because I really think I need a white. You know, I wear so much black. I think I could use a white shawl or stole or wrap. So,
and a white shawl would go wonderfully well with that red blouse of yours.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Okay, done.
Yeah, if you pressure me a little bit or remind me, I may knit that with you, because I really don't have a white shawl either.
Yeah, and I think if I remember Tina right, the comes out December 1st, and a new clue comes out every other day until Christmas Eve. So I probably could not keep up.
Right.
But I'm a sucker for like your shawl behind you. Anything that gives me a good 4 to 6 inches. That didn't sound good.
Keep going, please.
Of just a little bit of a pattern, because then you can decide if you like it or not. And you learn new techniques. So I think it's kind of a win-win.
I think so too.
Yeah. So
very
hopefully.
good. Now, is that a knit along? Is that usually free? The pattern's free?
I don't remember.
Paid for? Okay.
I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna guess paid for, but you'd have to look on my project page. So what are you working on?
All right.
What's on your needles?
What's on my needles? Well, right now I am just working on my muted alliteration scarf, which, by the way, I must be a little bit more tense because this part's narrower.
Yeah, it is.
I think actually, and you know what I think it is? This is a heavier duty fingering weight.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So I don't know what to do about that. Should I rip it out, do you think?
No, I think it'll block.
You think so?
No.
Okay. Anyway, it is mindless knitting. And so I needed that this week. I came home pretty tired, and yeah, that's what I'm, Lisa Schabes, all of her information will be in the show notes. And again, I'm just using scraps on a size 3.
Very good. I'll give you an update, not much to see, on Grand Bazaar by Melanie Berg. I just continue. It's a long shawl. And, okay, I'm stuck in yarn. Yeah, so.
Dawn.
But it is long now. So I am not quite at the 3/4 mark. So I'm going to guess a couple more weeks on this. I've done the 16th of 24 repeats. So, and you can see my lifeline. So again, I can't work on this in public very well because it's a lace pattern, not complicated at all, but does require a little focus. So, and that's going to block beautiful. That is in Queensland. I forget the base.
Is it United?
Oh, that's it, United, and it's in the black currant colorway, and I'm on a size 5, although the pattern called for a 7. So, and then you can see there's where I was last week. So
look at you. You were tearing it up this week.
Well, you know, I always hoped I could do a full 24-row repeat a day. Yeah, maybe once the semester gets going and things settle in, but not right now. And this is not like good Zoom knitting.
Right.
So
no, it's good Zoom tinking, but not good Zoom knitting.
And I did some of that this week for sure.
Didn't we both? I only have one other thing that I'm actively working on because I'll cast on my next hat later this evening. I am still working on that eyelet striped jacket.
Yeah. Look at that.
So I've knit the back, and I am now knitting the fronts, and that way I can attach the sleeves. I'll just pick up stitches and attach the sleeves, put the trim around it, and it'll be done. What I like about this is the eyelets serve as buttonholes.
I think that's brilliant.
I do too. I do too, because my buttonholes are not very polished.
I think I've never knit, but I hear a lot of garment knitters say that they struggle with that, the buttonholes looking nice.
Isolde Tig has a very nice buttonhole that I would like to master. I haven't mastered it yet. I just think it's very polished looking. That's probably what I'm going to work on with my upcoming sweaters, because I have a couple sweaters I want to get cast on also. So I think I will use those buttonholes for the sweaters. That's right there. I am using Republic of Wool in the Supernova colorway, and I am knitting on a size 5. So it got $4 signs, $5 signs for fiber, and a $1 sign on the frugalometer for the pattern, because it's part of one of those 60 patterns you can knit with a skein of yarn book.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, very good value. Very good value. Anything else on your needles?
I do. And you know what? It's been my favorite this week. And of course, I haven't had much time to knit on it. This is Festival of Stitches by Lisa Hannes. And you guys, it is stunning. So there's the center triangle.
My goodness.
And then now I've started. Look at that.
Oh!
Look at that.
Oh, Miss Lisa, you need to take her pictures of this when she gets it finished.
You know what? There's one already done in black and white.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah. Yep, red, black, and white. Yep. So I'm on clue 2 of 4, but of course the lace in that pop color just turned out amazing. But look at that mosaic. Oh,
isn't that fun?
I'm about done with this, and then I have to repeat the same over here on the other side, but the black and white will oppose each other. So they'll flip. The red obviously stays the same. So loving it. There's like 4 of us doing it as an informal knit along. One is just as pretty as the other. Now, if you look at the pattern, I chose eyelets here in the red. You can do baubles as well. And I think everybody else did baubles.
Oh, they did. Okay.
And I'm just not a baubles fan. So, yeah. So I can't wait. I wish I could work on this all the time. Ba La Jolla yarn, amazing. And so the colorways are on my project page, but that red is just, oh.
It's rich, isn't it? It's rich.
And it's a little tonal because I think it's called Black Cherries. But gosh, it's just that yarn going through your hands. I love that combination of great pattern, great yarn, great visuals. Gosh, I can get pumped up talking about it. It's ridiculous. I may have to sleep with it when I'm done. Just tuck it under my pillow or wear it around my shoulders or something.
I think you should. I'd wear it every day for at least the first 30 days.
My students would be like, do you own anything else?
Nope, not right now. I don't.
Yeah, and so the next extra credit question was going to be, who's the designer? What yarn?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is the fiber content for an additional 5 points?
I will be called into the dean's office. So.
Well, having been there a couple times myself, you get used to it.
I know the way very well. Yes. Yeah. I know the way. So that is all that's on my needles right now.
You know what? In a couple of weeks, it's just going to be the Frivolous Dawn show, because we are going to be looking at some stunning, stunning shawls that you've done. Yeah. I can't wait for that.
It'll be fun. But then, of course, does your brain not go to what's next?
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I found myself getting a little irritated that I was still working on this little jacket because I want to move on to a shawl. I have a shawl itch because I want more shawls. And I'm thinking, why am I getting irritated? That's not what knitting's all about. So
here's a crazy analogy. We may have to cut it out. You see the end of your previous, or the project you're working on, and you can imagine what you're going to cast on. It's like when you have to go to the bathroom. The closer you get to the toilet, the worse you have to go.
No, I don't think we'll have to cut it out. I think we'll get many thumbs up for that. Because you hit that nail on the head.
Or exit stage right.
Absolutely. Whew.
I think I do get that. You're just ready for a project to be done.
Yep.
And you've already bought the yarn for the next project, or somebody else is working on it and you want to cast that. And so it's exciting on both ends. So.
Yep. I agree with you.
I can see why people don't block right away. You know, they're tired of one project. They like it, but they're tired of it. And now they're starting something new. So just throw it in the pile and we'll eventually get things blocked.
I don't know who to credit this to, but I remember listening to a podcast, and it was a designer who said knitters need to learn to celebrate the completion of a garment by blocking it so that they can move on. But I am more like you. I finish, but I don't block until the pile is up to my knee. It has to be a knee-high pile before I'm going to spend that time blocking it, because it takes up my living room and my dining room table and all of those other things.
And it's putsy. I like it when it's done, but it's putsy.
It is. It is. Well, I think I heard you allude to it, but what are you learning this week, or what have you learned?
Two different things. One is I've got to learn that if a project needs focus and I'm tired, that's not a good combination. So why create more work for myself when I know I'm going to have to tink? So I need to focus. I can only focus on one thing. So if I'm in a meeting and I need to focus, I need some brainless knitting. So that is my big thing for this weekend. I have nothing brainless on the needles. Or mindless. Maybe I shouldn't say brainless. This is nice, mindless. So I need to cast on a hat or some socks, or maybe like I was thinking the sock head hat. Oh, I want to maybe cast on 3-color cashmere cowl by HiKoo, because I get to do a Zoom with HiKoo.
What?
Talk about fangirl. So I'm part of the Zombie Knitpocalypse Network, ZKN. And that's just something they're doing year-round now because they had such great success with their virtual Zombie Knitpocalypse conference or retreat, whatever. And so for a very small amount of money, you can have attend a Zoom with a speaker once a month. And so they just announced that the September speaker is HiKoo.
Well, I am so glad you have a defibrillator right there in that room with you, because once you see her on the screen, just make sure Steve's nearby so he can administer and get you back into the presentation.
That's too funny. So that's exciting. So I'll try not, but they're going to do a HiKoo knit along. So the 3-color cashmere would be a win-win. The cowl,
absolutely.
So.
I'm excited for you because I know how much, and we've talked about how much we admire her aesthetics. She's very reasonable when she presents her patterns and the prices. And I believe she's a genuinely humble woman.
I was just going to say that.
Very admirable to me. Yeah.
I think she's very humble. And she's got flawless skin. So they're going to think I'm weird, but I'm going to keep moving into the screen. Just so look at that skin. Wow. Yeah,
and did you hear her gently say, Dawn, would you please stop peeping? Well, no. She knows
back away, ma'am. Back away. Yeah, so I think that's exciting. So what are you learning?
I learned 2 things this week, and I'm going to come back here to the September hat. A new stitch that I learned is the stitch that you can see that looks like a cable. It is not a cable. Oh, really? It is a faux looking cable. And the acronym for that stitch, or I shouldn't say acronym, well, it is an acronym, is PUB, pub. Pull.
Pearl under the bar? Pearl
no,
under
you're not pearl. Oh, pull up the bar. So you knit the back side of a slipped stitch and you pull up the bar and you knit in it.
Get out.
I know. So pub. I don't know where she was when she came up with that, but it was brilliant. Pub. And so anyway, I like that and really found it to be intuitive. Memorized the pattern very quickly and easily. So it was kind of mindless knitting while I was watching television. Same stitch was used for the brim. But again, if I had to do it over, I would use a different needle size for that. So that's the first thing I learned. The second thing, and Dawn, I just thought about this, this may be related to the new cast on I tried.
Oh, I wonder.
If you see, the stitch is the same in the brim as it is in the body of the hat. I tried a new cast on for me, the Chinese waitress cast on. I wonder if it was too loose. I don't know.
It's a stretchy cast on.
It is a stretchy cast on, and I've never tried it before. The name of it was just tantalizing. It's like the tomato heel. I need to do it one of these times. But I like the Chinese waitress cast on because it really prohibits you from using overusing yarn or wasting yarn, because you're casting on as you go. You're not doing like the long tail cast on like I do, which I always have done that. So this was a new one for me to learn. You use a crochet hook with it. Makes it kind of putsy, but I had a very good tutor, the woman to my left here, who taught me how to do it. So I like it. So I learned 2 new stitches this week.
Stop the madness. Stop.
Hey, I need to learn something all the time.
I do want to say, for those who joined the virtual knit night last Saturday night, I had an absolutely delightful time. So shout outs to that. And I think, did I see that you put on the Ravelry discussion board all the different things we talked about? So we talked about.
Yes. I tried to take notes as we were chatting, because it is 2 hours chock full of nothing but talk about knitting. And I tried to list the designers we mentioned, the fibers, the events, and the patterns. I know I didn't catch all of them, but if you're interested, it's in that August virtual knit night thread toward the bottom. Take a look at it. There are links there, and we enjoyed it. And I just have to tell you, we had a very unexpected surprise for that. So here's a shout out to our dear sisters of the knitting community, Miss Joyce and Miss Irene from the 3-Ply podcast. You girls just rocked the night. And I have to tell you that I believe everyone left the knit along with full hearts and full cups. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yep. I'm looking forward to September already.
I am too. I think it'll be great. And literally, we try to start out with a discussion thread or a stem, like what is on your needles. And then we just move into those other things we're learning, and we share what we've discovered. Wonderful. It's just wonderful. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'm learning too.
Yeah.
And, I forgot to write it down. I wished I would have. I was watching another podcast called Flock Around the Table. 3 delightful ladies from the Indianapolis area. They're a new podcast. I think they're on like episode 6 or 7. Micah, and I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. Micah, Deb, and Sue. You know what I love about them, and it makes me think of the 3-Ply podcast ladies, is they love, love, love their local yarn store. And they want to promote it, and they want it to survive in these hard times. And they have a local yarn store. I think it's in Zionsville. Did I say that? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, which is an Indianapolis suburb. And they get to bring things from the yarn shop to show too, or if they're having a trunk show. But Micah did this stunning, stunning teal green shawl that I had to write right away and find out where she got that yarn from.
Absolutely.
I would have ordered it, but it's on back order. So yeah, I love learning from other knitters.
Yeah.
And I'm so visual that when they show some of this stuff, I just want to know the pattern. I want to know the yarn. I get so excited over silly stuff like that, but
I don't think it's silly at all. It's an aesthetic aspect of art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tactile, it's visual.
Funny ladies. They're funny ladies.
So if you're in the Indianapolis or Zionsville area, drop in at least the physical shop or their website to the Village Yarn Shop.
Yeah.
And let them know that you heard about them via the Flock Around the Table. Is it Flock Around the Table?
Yeah, what a fun name, huh?
I know. I think it's hilarious.
They're sitting around the kitchen table, so it's perfect.
Love it.
And then we thought we should always say, what would Nikki say if she was here?
Well,
if Nikki was here, she would say, wash your golf clubs. Don't forget, we always forget to say like and subscribe if you're interested in being notified. And so, and I probably should say this more often too, but we're on all the social medias. So Instagram, Facebook, but most active in the Ravelry community or the groups tab, depending on which version of Ravelry you're using.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Dawn.
I know. We have a winner, don't we?
We do. And you know what? I didn't write her name down, but I want to say her first name was Sandy, right?
I think so.
Sandy or Sandra from our YouTube drawing for 750 subscribers. So, Miss Sandy, we're going to message you and ask you to send us your physical mailing address, and I will get your package in the mail. We thank you for putting in a comment in our thread. We're so grateful for that. And we'll be in touch soon. And that begs also the statement and question, did we forget to send any out? If you won and you haven't received it yet, would you please let us know?
Because Nikki does not live with us. And if she did, it would be sent out, but it's Penny and I.
Who together can barely get it together.
No doubt. Yeah. So our teaser question was, if you could go to an island and only take one yarn with you. I am telling you, I bet I spent a couple of hours this week looking up indie dyers that people mention. But how many people love Malabrigo and Madeline Tosh? And Miss Sandy, who won, had a brilliant answer. She said, I'm just taking fingering weight yarn.
Yeah, and because she can make it any other weight she needs. Is that not brilliant?
That is a brilliant answer.
Double it, and you have DK. Triple it, you probably have Aaron. I don't know.
Oh, I love that.
Wonderful.
It was a great answer. So thank you, Miss Sandy. That was fun.
Absolutely.
And then I think next week we'll probably have to draw again for Finish, Fix, or Frog It.
I think so. During our Knitting with the Aunties time, we will do that. And that'll be episode 26. We'll announce that winner in episode 26. And if you're someone who likes to plan ahead, get on your calendar Saturday, September 12th from 7 to 9 Central Time for our next virtual knit night.
Yeah. That'll be fun. All right.
Right.
Well, I think sadly our time is ending.
Excuse me. I think it is.
Hey, I don't see the bee, do I?
Pardon.
Oh, you're tricky.
I had to make Michael wait till the end of the episode. It's called Big Sister Picking on Little Brother. And also, I'm hoping he sees my coffee cup today.
Oh, that's cool too.
I should have showed that to you while you were here.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Anyway, I think that's it. We are so grateful that you've spent some time with us this week. And it's our hope that your week will be a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 25, and we'll see you next week for episode 26. Have a great week.
Bye, everybody.